Hello, well, it's time now, so welcome everyone to the Ietf Madinas session for this Ietf 119 in Brisbane. Myself, Juan Carlos Zúñiga, and Carlos Bernardo's remote chairing the group. So, as usual, this is an IETF meeting, and as such, please be aware of the note well and the policies in effect that apply to these meetings. So, as a reminder, when you participate in these meetings, you are following the IETF process and policies. Your contribution will be covered by the applications that are owned or controlled by your sponsor, but you must disclose that in advance. The participation or attendee, you acknowledge that written audio and video and photographic records will be made out of this meeting. The information that you provide will be handled in accordance with the IETF privacy statement. And please treat your peers respectfully and professionally. If you have any further questions, you can refer to the different BCPs on the screen. Again, this is intended for virtual and professional collaboration, so we will be following the IETF guidelines of conduct, the anti-harassment policy, the anti-harassment procedures, and if you have any concerns, please talk to the Ombudsman in a confidential manner. We will maintain and preserve an environment for treating everyone with dignity, decency, and respect. So please do not engage in any harassment or hostile discussions. This is going to be recorded with Mitico, so please log on to the tool. You have the QR code for local attendees, so you can use your phone if you want to have a in-person attendance. If you are using the full client, we are going to be recording your attendance through there. And please do not share your audio and video unless you are actively participating. We have here the links to the agenda, the Mitico, and other information. And if you have any questions, please refer to the different links. Okay, so before we continue, I'm going to make another call. Can someone help us take notes? This is going to be a thanks a lot, Bob. No worries, we can do that. As long as you take some high level ones, we can go through the recordings, but thank you very much. Appreciate it. So we have some working group items that we want to discuss. We're going to have presentations for the first two. The MAC address randomization current state of affairs document, which we believe is ready for publication. The use cases and identity requirements, that is probably ready for working group last call. And then we're going to have some discussion about the informational annex to replace the BCP that was put as one of the milestones for the group. We're also going to talk about the liaison statement to IETF, Madinas, and Vadext. So starting from the first one, I think we're going to have a presentation. Probably we want to have the discussion right after the presentation, and Carlos will do the update. For the use cases and identity requirements, we also got a presentation from Jerome. In case he doesn't connect, is because it's 2 o'clock for him, so we may be able to present on his behalf. We'll see if he shows up. And probably right after that, we can talk about the best current practices, if that's okay. So moving on, we received another liaison from the WBA, which I'm writing here in a few slides, in case you didn't see it on the mailing list. If you remember, WBA is the institution that we've been liaising and talking for a while, notably on the open roaming discussions. And we they are the ones that are basically in charge of the Open Roaming Federation. They gave some presentations. They made a liaison where they wanted to talk to us. And at the last meeting, they actually came to the IETF meeting and participated in their Open Roaming Hackathon, where they were analyzing the concerns that we have about leakage of privacy information and identifiers that could fly and that could be picked up by third parties. In this case, the could be the network um, or the it's some other third party. So they sent us this liaison where they are sharing what has happened since. And well, the first thing is that they have this work in the WRIX drop and roaming specifications where they are including normative text regarding end user privacy to prevent the unintentional weakening of end user information being shared to third parties. And this going on the radius access accept messages. And they are sharing this with both ourselves, the working group Madinas, and Radex. So I believe there could be some other discussions in Radex to follow up on this very specific issue. To be precise, they have these recommendations, and I think this is an important outcome of the discussions and the work we've had, because if you remember, we were raising some concerns about this privacy leakage. So I'm going to just quickly read. WBA now recommends that the default identity provider policy should ensure that any correlation identifiers in the radius access accept messages, such as class attribute 25 and or chargeable user identity attribute 89, are unique for each combination of end user and access network provider, and that the keys and or initialization vectors used in creating such correlation identifiers should be refreshed at every 48 hours, but not more frequently than every 2 hours. The 2-hour limit is designed to permit the access network provider to perform autonomous troubleshooting of connectivity issues from authentic users that are repeatedly reinitiating connectivity to the access provider network or permit the access provider identity to identify a new session originated by an authentic user device that has previously violated the open roaming end user terms and conditions. In contrast to this default policy, WBAWRIX specifications describe scenarios where the 48-hour limit is required to be extended. For example, when the identity provider supports settled service and requires a correlation identifier to be stable over an entire billing period. The WBA has worked with the authors of Open Roaming ID to the internet draft to update the draft to reflect these recent changes, and you have a link there to the draft from Bruno Thomas. They are planning to communicate these changes to Open Roaming identity providers, and they are basically presenting at Radix. So once again, this is a positive outcome of the work that we were doing here when looking at network services and identification in the presence of randomized MAC addresses, and how the studies that we did and the work at the hackathon and our liaising with the WBA has already started providing some good results. And I don't know if Alan or someone wants to say something about Radix or how that is going to be taken from here.
Yeah, this is Alan. The latest revision of the deprecating insecure practices document in Radix has some text about COI that they've reviewed and said it meets their needs. I don't remember if it has those specific 48-hour issues or limitations, but I'll check. But it seems to be pretty good, and I believe they will be presenting at RADX. And I've had a chat with some people. I don't know that it would be a RADX working group document, the open roaming one at least, simply because it's documenting open roaming, but it should be reviewed by RADEXT, and then the individuals in RADEXT would support it as an individual document that an AD could sponsor or something.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Alan, for that update. Okay, so do we have any more questions or comments regarding this liaison or the information about the document? All right, so seeing none, I'm going to stop sharing here. And next item is Carlos.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me well.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. Perfect. So this is a short update on the randomized and changing MAC address. So this is revision number 12. Just a very brief introduction or reminder of what is this draft about. This draft is basically about documenting the current state of affairs regarding MAC address randomization and what has been done in different SDOs and what has been and is being done by different vendors of mostly mobile phones, but also desktop operating systems. Let me just go into the current table of content. The table of content has changed. I mean, minor changes compared to the version that was presented in the last IETF. Basically, we removed the section on terminology that only had one term that is very well known, MAC address term. So we removed that. There was a comment from Med as part of the reviews about removing the table that we have on the current practices. We decided not to do that because basically we did that already, removing it, and we put it back based on working group feedback that basically the working group felt the consensus was that it was useful to have the current snapshot, even though this may change over time, and that's the purpose of having the link to the GitHub. So that's the reason we maintain that table there. And the rest is basically the same as is used before. Regarding the same log since the last IETF, we have done I think 3 or 4 iterations since last IETF. Mainly, we got very good comments from Bob Kinden and from Med. From Bob, mostly related to IPv6 and the way the interface identifiers generated the text that was in the draft originally was outdated. So we updated that, and I think Bob was happy with the changes, but I guess he's there, so probably he can comment if there is something that should remain unaddressed from our side. I hope it's not the case. And also, we received very good comments from Med, and we addressed most of them. The only 2 that were not addressed was the title of the draft, because I think this was also discussed in the past, that is in the charter, and the tables, as I mentioned before. And we also got some additional comments. And we believe now that the document is really ready for going to the next step, so to IETF last call and final publications, hopefully. So any comments, questions? If not the case, Juan Carlos, I guess we probably should request publication right after the meeting, right?
Okay.
Eric Ving, the area director in charge of Madinas. So I would be so happy to accept this publication and start the process for going to the IETF last call and finally ISG ballot. It has been 2 or 3 years now for this working group, so it's time to produce something. Thank you in advance.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Eric. All right. So we'll advance the document there. Okay. So if we have no more, I don't think we have Jerome on the online, so we're going to or leave you. No. Yeah, so it's very late for both of them. All right, so I'm going to present on their behalf, I guess. Bob?
Just on the last one, so what's happening? Are you going to do working group last call, or what is the state of the previous document?
We're going to advance to work to, well, it's already on working group last call, so.
Oh, so it's in working group last call.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. Okay. So coming back to the Madinas use cases document. So, well, here is an update or showing the history of all the different updates that the authors have been addressing. As you see, as of the latest versions, they have been addressing the different comments on the list. The document has been stable quite for a while, and it's probably getting ready for working group last call too. They included some specific details about the changes. Probably we don't have to go into all the different details for how they were addressing each one of the comments. Just going to skip the specifics. And maybe this is, yeah. So again, the document provides these use cases with the details about the trust degree, the type of network administration, the services that are expected, and the network support expectation that is given. So this was a baseline that we used to talk about the different solutions. And originally the intention was to take this baseline and then work on the best current practices, which as we know, it hasn't been very successful. We don't have that best common practices, but we have had some good results and discussions with the WBA regarding existing solutions. But as of the latest discussions, the solutions that were documented, that were taken out of this document, because we believe they will be moving to a best common practices document, are now in the limbo. So some of the suggestions were to bring those current solutions as an annex, as an informational annex, back to this document, so that assuming that we are not going to work on a best BCP document, we could still recuperate the documentation that we had on those solutions. So trying to see here, this document, this page is still talking about the last changes that we're doing about the requirements. But I guess what I just described is section 7 here. Existing solutions was removed, needs to be re-added as an annex. And the authors are asking, should we go for working group last call? So I think this is what is remaining from this document. I personally believe that it makes sense to bring back those sections as an annex, as an informational annex, just because it was a good follow-up from the table, showing what are the existing solutions that are there in the field that can be used to address the different use cases. And without providing any specifics, I think it's good to have them in an informational annex, potentially referring to the work that will take place now in RADEX or at the WPA, for instance. I don't know if anyone has any comment or any feedback regarding this way forward. Eric?
No specific comment on the draft itself, but at some point of time we will need a shepherd as well for this document. Peter was kind enough, and thank you again, to be the shepherd for the other one, but for this one we will need one. And there's also an opportunity for somebody in the room who has never taken an authorship or chiefing or a chair position to try and understand a bit better the processes. It's basically 2-3 hours of work to be done within the next weeks.
Thanks. Okay. Okay. So assuming that we go that way, is there anyone that could volunteer right now, or you prefer to discuss later on with the chairs? Up to you. Okay. Okay, Peter. Thank you very much. Peter Yi. Thank you very much. Okay. So, I mean, we have, I don't know if we have all the people here. Since this is a likely attended meeting, what do you think? Should we call for support for a working group last call here at the meeting, or maybe on the mailing list?
On the mailing list anyway, to do it and change it, that's right.
Okay. Okay.
And if you do it right now, it will be 3 weeks because that's during the meeting. So either we do it right now and we wait 3 weeks, or you wait until Easter Monday, and then you wait 2 weeks to do the same delay. So.
Okay. So I don't know if people remotely heard, but so the suggestion is to go 3 weeks starting from now, or wait after Easter and then do a 2-week working group last call. In any case, I think, well, since the authors are not here, we need to provide them this feedback. So probably it makes sense to wait. Okay. Fair enough. So I think that's it. And that is the last contribution that we had for this meeting. Is there any other business or any other question that people would like to discuss for now? Okay. So hearing none, thank you very much, everyone. And enjoy the rest of your afternoon or your morning, Carlos.
So do you expect to meet in
I guess we can discuss in the mailing list, but probably we don't need a physical meeting. We will consider strongly not to meet physically in Vancouver. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thanks, Carlos. Bye-bye. Thanks, Alan.
So it just takes a minute. It's not. There was, I mean, I wasn't trying to copy the slide, so just try to capture anything. But
Okay.
I'm done.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.